Now, if you've done anything in the lines of text warp in Photoshop, if you went through the Photoshop training, you know how to do a text warp. Image warp is very similar to the text warp, except it actually takes an image now and allows you to manipulate pretty much the same way that you did with text warp. The only difference is you don't have a bunch of presets to pick from. You've got to make it yourself. So we're going to make an arc just like we would with a text warp. Now, one of the interesting things that we've got to deal with on this particular image is the fact that we've got multiple layers here. Now, one thing that we could do is actually select all the layers and link them together. And one thing you may notice is our little links box has gone all the way down the side here. I originally saw that and I go, whoa, this is a really bad thing, but it's not as bad as we think it is. This has actually been more of a blessing in disguise. I initially didn't like it because, again, you're having to try to change habits. Once I start working with this and see all the flexibility I have, I all of a sudden go, hey, this is a very cool thing. So we can individually select layers that we want to link together. So there's another new option. We can now select layers. So if I hold down my Shift key and click on this one, it's going to link all of them in between. If I hold down my Control or Command key, I can select individual layers. So this is kind of a very cool thing. And the reason I'm selecting all these is because I'm going to link them together so that I can merge them into a new layer. I can only do one layer at a time with image warp. I can't do multiple layers like this. So even if I did link them, if I come out here to Edit Transform, which is where our image warp is, you see warp down there under perspective is not lit up. So in other words, it's not accessible. So I've got to come up with a new way to do this. So there's three ways to do this. I don't want to spill all the beans for all the new features in one demo here. So we'll get to Smart Objects. Smart Objects is a great way to do it. I'm going to kind of go back to an old-fashioned way that we used to do it. I'm going to take and create a new layer, and I'm going to link I'm actually going to merge all these layers into the new layer. Now again, there's multiple ways to do this. This is just the way I have picked to do it. And since I'm going to link all these layers to this one, I'm just going to merge them all into this, making a copy. So first of all, let's select them all. Now even though those ones are linked, see, I need to still link the top one to it. So we'll just add another link. All I had to do is pick one of them underneath, and I've got them all linked now. Now I could come up here and do a merge linked layers, which we don't have anymore. That's interesting. But let's see what happens if we merge visible, which is going to be the same thing, and hold down our Alt or Option key at the same time. Yes, it still works. So now we've actually eliminated the need to actually link layers together. All we have to do is merge visible. So now we just turn the eyeballs on, merge visible, but hold down your Alt or Option key and that will make you a copy. Now let's close off all these other layers so we don't have to look at them, and we're just looking at our new layer up here. Now let's go into Warp, Edit Transform, and as far as I know, there's no shortcut key for this. Now since I've still got all these other ones linked, that's why I'm not getting anything. So let's get rid of the links. So all we have to do is select this one here and one below it and just say don't link them. So we just get rid of the links. Now we should be able to get to Edit Warp. There we go. So just remember that. That's something you may come across too at the same time. Boy, I'm just having a hard time with this mouse today getting it down to that warp feature. It's going all over the place. So what we have here are individual Bezier points. Now these are actually Bezier points. They're not corner points. They have handles to them. So as soon as you move them, you will have handles. So let's kind of create that arc, you know, the normal left to right arc that we have in text warp. So first thing I'm going to do is take this point right here and we'll just bring it down. I'm going to hold down my Shift key so I go straight down with it. And then I'm going to hold my Shift key down again so I go straight down with this one. Now to get an exact spot, that's going to be a little tough because I didn't put a guide up there. So probably the best option would be to put a guide in place first. Then let's move the bottom ones up. And this time we'll put a guide in so that you can see how we can snap, or not snap to it, but we can actually use that as a reference point here. And we'll come up with this one right here. Okay, and we'll talk about smart objects later. Okay, so there we got that one. And now we got this one here. And I said smart objects there. Obviously, I didn't mean smart objects. I meant smart guides. And then we'll just take the Bezier handle and we'll bring it to the opposite side here. So you see how it's starting to warp back the other direction. So we'll hopefully get it about the same angle here. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. Now, why you would do this with this plane, I have no clue, but I'm just trying to show you how this works. So there's kind of a wide angle perspective, I guess you could say. That's what a wide angle lens would kind of give us. So that's just the way you do it. You hit your enter key and that will save your changes. I would obviously make copies of these things and put them on separate layers, just like we did, so that you're guaranteed that you don't mess with the original image. Now remember, when we have multiple layers here, it's very difficult to work with. But if you create a combined layer, or we create a smart object, which we'll look at a little later, either one of those two would be a great way to do this project.
At Hand Solutions provides individual online training, certification, and skill building to keep your job, get a better one, or find a new one with access to experts when and where you need them. Get started today with free access at handsolutions.com.